Welcome to Coming Out of the Spiritual Closet with your host, me, Brittany Whittig. Join me every week to explore and demystify the world of modern spirituality. This week, I interview energetic soul coach and healer Ella Heink. And Ella digs into limiting beliefs, how our beliefs can be actually passed down generation to generation energetically, and her signature healing method that works with your energy, your body. It's all super unique, and I love where this conversation went. It's so empowering. You're going to learn so much about how you can begin to heal yourself and different modalities that can be used all together to help you dig into your own personal healing. So without further ado, here is Ella. All right. Thank you everyone for joining us this week. And Ella, I am so happy to have you here on the podcast. This is so awesome.
Thank you so much. I'm really happy to be here.
So I guess we'll just get started. Ella, if you could tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do.
So I'm Ella Heink. I live in British Columbia, Canada, and I am a energetic soul coach and healer, as well as an entrepreneur. So I also own a holistic day spa and wellness center here in Castlegar, BC, and also offer online soul coaching and energy healing. I have my own innovative signature method of energy healing that I've developed over time, combining principles of Reiki, shamanism, crystal healing, and even like alpha brainwave guided meditation, just to really help you overcome any limiting perceptions and beliefs, step into your best self, run an authentic business, have an authentic life, and just be a really, boss, badass babe.
Huh? I love that. Oh my gosh, that sounds fascinating. I definitely am going to have questions about that.
Definitely.
Just to get started, you mentioned overcoming limiting beliefs.
Yes.
So could you talk a little bit about what those are, how you would recognize those?
Definitely. So as we grow up through life, we kind of have this identity that we can put on ourselves. This identity can be formed based upon how we were raised, who our parents were, their struggles, how they went through life, what they did for a career, even what their expectations are of us, or our teachers' expectations. Maybe you need to be seen and not heard. You need to be quiet. You can't talk about your feelings. And so we pick up on all these things as we're growing up. And then as we're adults, these start to manifest into our life as to how we show up in the world. And so we start showing up through this lens, you could say, as to what everyone else has thought of us and thinks of us, rather than who we're truly meant to be. And so we don't really use our true voice. We don't really have that confidence. We're kind of hiding behind this lens and even viewing the world through this lens of this perception of I'm really shy, I need to hide away, or, I can't show my true self. I can't show my true feelings. And so I really love working with my clients to help them recognize what those are based upon how they were raised, based upon their life situation, and start peeling those away to get to who they truly are so they can really show up as their authentic form in life.
Ooh, I love that. So that's so interesting. Could you maybe give me an example of a limiting belief?
Well, a really powerful one, especially in business, is that, you have to work hard to make money. We have the belief that you have to, work 40, 50-hour work weeks, that you have to, work really hard to make your money, rather than, having the belief that money comes, easily and effortlessly to me. So this could look like your parents having multiple jobs. This could look like your parents always having a really strict budget, telling you, oh, we can't afford that. And so just then how you view money and how you view work, or even parents were you have to be a lawyer or a doctor, you have to have this good job. Yeah. Then, if you really want to be a creative or have some sort of innovative, unique business, you will, kind of shy away from that because this is the core belief that you have for what you need to do in order to be successful. So that's just, one prime example that can really show up.
Oh, yeah. And I think that shows up for so many people. That one feels like it's so culturally conditioned too, that it's like, I bet almost everyone in the US, at
Definitely.
least in the
Yeah.
US for sure, I would say most people are running that belief.
Yeah.
I know that that's actually a limiting belief that I've worked on for myself. And it's so interesting that you brought that one up, because over the last couple weeks, I lost my voice. We actually had to postpone this interview because I
Yes.
completely lost my voice. And all of my work basically involves my voice. So I couldn't work for like
Hmm.
a week. I had to reschedule everything. And I noticed like guilt and fear coming up around
Yeah.
that. And I was like, oh, there's that limiting belief coming up that I have to work hard or I'm not going to make money, or
Yep.
I have to work hard to be deserving of money, or something along those lines. I think there's a few of
Exactly.
them, right?
And even with that, especially with the voice, not being afraid to speak your truth. We want to fit in. We want to be popular. We want to, not offend anybody. And so really learning how to, not be afraid to speak your truth in a polite manner. You don't
Yeah.
want to be offensive, but at the same time, being willing to speak up for yourself is so important as well. And definitely can be a huge one for those people who are, more so in the voice industry.
Yes. Oh my gosh, totally. This is so interesting too, because just the timing of this is so great, because I've just recently started to like lean really, really hard into my authenticity in my Instagram and in my, like, I'm just so much more myself than I've ever
Mhm.
been, because I had the realization totally subconsciously, just I know what you're talking about. And it's so
Yeah.
interesting how this works subconsciously. I found myself doing a lot of mimicking of other people.
Yes.
And when I realized it, I was like, whoop, oh my gosh. And so, yeah, the timing of this is
Yeah.
amazing.
And when you are mimicking others, you have a unique purpose to this world that you were born for. And when you're mimicking others, you're not necessarily going to be drawing those clients to you that you want to ideally be working with, clients who'd be true to your purpose. So then you're going to be finding you're struggling with either like overworking, with being underpaid, with attracting clients you really don't want to work with, or who aren't willing to do the work that needs to be done to get the results, because they're not your true soul clients, because you're not speaking your true soul truth. So,
Yes.
yeah.
Ooh, that's so good. And what I love about that too is that, so we're talking about this in terms of business, but
Mhm.
this will also apply to the people who are drawn into your life as friends, the
Yep.
people you attract as romantic partners. Like,
Exactly.
if you are not being your authentic true self, who you're drawing in, they're being drawn to this this
Illusion.
yes, this illusion. Thank you. That's
Yep.
exactly the word. And that, I
Exactly.
think that is one of the reasons why so many relationships um don't last very long, because it's like there's these illusions of self that have met
Mhm.
and shown each other these illusions, but then once the real authentic selves come out, it's like, oh, wait a second,
Exactly.
we're not compatible at all.
Right. Or even if you have already attracted a husband, if you're not willing to speak your truth, if you keep, being quiet, letting him do whatever he wants to do, or her do whatever she wants to do, you're not going to feel very satisfied and fulfilled in a relationship. And maybe he won't, maybe they won't even either, because, they're trying to meet this side of you that they think exists, but that's not the real side of you. So if you can just allow yourself to be vulnerable, allow yourself to show up, then they're going to be like, oh, okay, this is how I need to connect with this person, because this is who they truly are versus this side of you. And you'll just find so much more fulfillment and satisfaction and quality in, every aspect of your relationship.
Yes. Oh my gosh. And I love this. This is such powerful and important work for people to do. And it feels like there's like a necessary trust, like a trust in a trust in yourself or the universe. Like I think what makes it hard is like, it can be hard to trust that those aligned people really will show up, or that the person you're with is really going to accept the real you.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Definitely. Well, there's a huge like self-worth aspect, right? If you want to start suddenly showing up in this authentic way, having the confidence that you are enough, that, you know, you are worthy, that you will be loved. And that's definitely where I combine the spiritual component into my energetic healing. Because I myself do believe in God. I myself do believe in Jesus Christ, but I wouldn't say I'm particularly religious. And also, I wouldn't say you'd have to specifically follow my modality of beliefs in order to work with me, but having a higher understanding of something is really important. Because if you have, for myself, just speaking in the terms I use, if by understanding there's a God who created me in my unique way, who loves me, who wants to take care of me, that can automatically help instill that sense of self-worth so you don't feel so alone. It's like, okay, you know what? If this God created me this way, for a specific purpose, obviously I am worthy. Obviously, you know, I'm supposed to be showing up like this, and that will attract those situations that was destined for me, that are seeking me once I can show up like that. And it just helps, you know, heal those core values so that way you can do that rather than just relying on your own sense of purpose, your own energy to do that.
Yes. Ooh, I love that. Absolutely. The words that I tend to use are like the universe, my guides, but it's the exact same idea, because I know that I'm not alone and I know that I'm supported with love.
Yeah.
That knowing that and trusting that changes the whole game.
Exactly.
Ooh, it's so, so good. Maybe the next thing I'll ask you about is your signature healing method.
Yes. So my signature healing method
Mm-hmm.
is called Etheric Vitality Enhancement, because we are, you know, enhancing life to your energy field. It's basically what it means. So the etheric field is the energetic field that operates within all of your cells, within all of your body, and within everything. And so that energy field can obviously, it has this like signature kind of blueprint based upon your thoughts. Going into science and genetics is so crazy. I've studied like neurology and biology, and they used to think that your genetics controlled your destiny. That was the common predicament. And so you were, you know, a victim to your family history, to your genetic history, to your health history. And that was going to predetermine how you showed up in the world. But science has actually now shown that our thoughts change our genetic history. So you can, you know, even if you were born a certain way, you can still shift that. The other important thing to recognize too is because our thoughts shift our genetic history, the thoughts and thought patterns that your parents were raised in, your grandparents were raised in, you have to think about the depression, all that sort of things that molded their thought patterns for scarcity, for survival, for working hard, show up in your genetic blueprint. So those kinds of thought patterns can be, you know, subconsciously running under your life. And you're like, I have no idea even how this has ever shown up. But with energy healing, you can then, you know, shift that. And then you can completely shift your health history, the way you show up in the world. You can change all of that through energy healing, which is absolutely incredible. It's so amazing. And it's scientifically proven now too, that by doing this work, we can change all of those things. And it's absolutely remarkable. I love it.
Ooh, yes. You're speaking my language here. I love the intersection of spirituality and science and how more and more and more they're starting to come together.
Right.
What came up for me as you were talking, I recently read about an experiment that they did with rats, where they, for multiple generations of rats, they put them in this maze, and every time the rats turned left, they would receive a shock, like a painful shock. And then what happened is, in the third generation of rats, when they put the rats in the maze, these are brand new rats that have never received a shock, but their parents had for generations. They wouldn't turn left.
Yeah.
So, and it lasted for 2 generations.
Oh my
The
God.
2 generations of rats wouldn't turn left without ever receiving the shock that was just passed down from their parents, which
Yeah.
is completely different than what we learned when we were kids in school. So this is new information. It's really amazing.
Yeah, it is. It is so cool. And so that's where, you can be showing up in life and having these limiting beliefs and having this lens that you're looking through that wasn't even yours.
Yeah.
And now we can, recognize that and we can shift that energetically so you can, achieve true fulfillment and authenticity in life effortlessly rather than, talk therapy. It can work. It's awesome. It can be a great counterpart to energetic healing, but this just really helps take it that one step further.
Yes, oh my gosh, I'm a firm believer in pairing all of these things together in whatever way feels right for you. Like whatever methods feel like the right methods for you. Definitely therapy can be helpful, but I agree with you. I had a lot of therapy and it did great things for me. And what really moved me into like massive expansion and growth was bringing in these spiritual tools, bringing in the energy work, bringing in, all of these different modalities, right?
Exactly. Because especially if you don't know what is causing this because of genetic history, there's no amount of talking that's going to get to that.
Right. Right. Totally. Yeah. If you think about it's coming from like your grandparents and great grandparents, like for sure. And there's also like that bodily element, right?
Exactly. And that's where too, like you can store trauma in your body, right? There's definitely a scientific belief and a spiritual belief that you can store certain trauma in different parts of your body. So for example, if your, throat is acting up, it could be because of those limiting beliefs of not speaking your truth. If like your knees hurt, it could be because you're afraid of moving forward. There's all these different things of these energetic emotions and beliefs that can manifest in your body. So with my signature modality, we can even go in and we can kind of like dive into any areas in your body that are, experiencing illness and figure out why they're experiencing illness, or we can even figure out in advance where is this limiting belief or this perception or whatever it is energetically residing in your body, and remove that from that area, release it, transform it, so that way you don't get illness in your body.
Ooh, this is so cool. And as you talk about that, what comes up for me is I had cancer in 2021. And I am 100% sure that a big part of what was going on there was stuck energy in my sacral chakra that eventually formed itself into physical disease. And it makes sense that it was in my sacral because I was adopted when I was just a few days old. So, and then I have mother wounds from my biological mother, and then I had a deep mother wound from my adoptive mother. And so some of the healing I did a lot of the healing I did was energetic trauma healing. But I'm sitting here listening to this and I'm like, ooh, you would have been someone that would have been great for me to work with.
Definitely.
This is awesome.
It's totally amazing. And, combined with my energy healing, like I don't just go in and shift these things. The fact is our brain holds on to patterns. It holds on to habits. And so even if we've shifted things energetically, our mind can still hold on to our old thought patterns, and it can take practice and routine to shift our mind from its state of thinking to this new elevated energetic state. So after every session, or in my specific coaching programs that I offer, I provide you with energetic tools, proven holistic and scientific strategies. So that way you can go in, it's like, hey, this is what we've shifted. We've shifted your throat wounds. We've shifted your sacral wounds. And here's ways to regulate yourself and to continue that on the physical plane to catch your brain up to your new energetic frequency.
Ooh, that's so cool. Okay, so that brings me to a question I wanted to ask you.
Yes.
How the brain causes self-sabotage. So
yes.
I hear about this all the time. I know for certain I've done it myself. So what's up with that?
So our brain is very primal in nature still. Like we have to think like back to when it was survival of the fittest, fight or flight, very primal. And so in that instance, new was bad. Gotta think, I don't know if you have kids, but the movie Crudes was all about, new is bad as these cavemen, and they didn't want to try any new situations because that would, be a new situation, and everyone always died when they got into new situations.
Okay.
Your brain is exactly like that, where new is bad. So any new situation causes fear in our brain, and our brain will actually subconsciously come up with a reasoning or logic for why we can't follow through on that new routine, that new habit, that new pathway, that new way of thinking. So, for instance, if you're wanting to make some crazy new business choice that's going to take investing a bunch of money, your brain is going to be like, oh my God, scarcity, limiting beliefs. I can't do this. I've never invested this amount of money before, blah, 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 whatever fear thing is running through. And then you're going to come up with all these reasons why you can't do it. And then you don't make that choice that will then catapult your life forward. So with energetic strategies, with this healing, we can go in, we can keep you regulated, we can change the energy, the perceptions behind those thoughts, so that way you can more effortlessly make those new choices without your brain actually holding you back.
Oh, yes. I love this so much. Something that just aligns with this so much, something I talk about is if you are allowing your fear to direct your decisions, then actually fear is controlling your life.
Exactly.
So what you're talking about is basically a way to make sure that you're managing that so that it's not controlling your choices.
Right? Yeah.
Cool.
And it's, recognizing that, you can't necessarily just muster through this,
right?
Because you can to a certain point, but you have to think if you're constantly working in that fear, you're constantly pushing forward, you're running all of those stress hormones, cortisol, all that stuff is then plaguing your body. It's getting stored in your body. You're going to then, start getting sick easier. You're going to be more tired. You're going to be more fatigued. You're going to burn out. And, there's only going to be so far that you can take yourself. Whereas if you're using these strategies, you're using this healing, you have this awareness behind what is happening, then you can, more effortlessly move forward. So you're not plagued with all those hormones and just like trying to drag this 100-pound bag behind you of fear, rather than, and you can just drop it.
Oh, I love that. So yes to all of this. You are speaking my language so hard. I love it.
Yes.
Let's see. So I'm just curious. So the Etheric Vitality Enhancement method, your signature method, like what does a session look like with you? Like, what does that in practice look like?
Yeah, so every session is really unique and catered to the individual. So first off, that's the biggest thing is, you have your own energetic blueprint. This is not a cookie cutter, I do XYZ thing. It's more like I have from A to Z in my tool bag, and we're going to use them based upon your signature energetic blueprint. But basically what happens is we open up, it's a 60-minute Zoom call. We open up the Zoom. I have a questionnaire I have you fill out once you book it. So we get to go over that little questionnaire. And then so I can get a better understanding of what you're hoping for, where you're at. But a lot of my session is very intuitively and spiritually led. And so we'll open it up with the filling, talking about that stuff, the brief consultation. I open up with a sage clearing, as well as a blessing myself to God and to Jesus Christ, because he's the, I believe he's the figure of unconditional love, just to make sure we're not opening up to any, weary spirits or anything like that.
Totally.
Just making sure we're opening up to their governance for a clean container. Yeah. And then I just, follow my intuition and my spirit to see where you're at, what your energy feels like, where, there might be certain blocks, what is coming to me, whether it's even, old parts of your soul from when you were younger or something that wants to reconnect with you that you've cut off because of trauma, or even any ancestors that want to connect with you or chat with you. And so we do that through a mix of, like I said, Reiki or the shamanic principles. And I also typically bring in a part of alpha brainwave guided meditation. So your alpha brainwave pattern is the slower frequency of your brain. It's kind of where you're at when you're starting to fall asleep, but you're still in control of your thoughts, not the hustle bustle energy. The actual frequency of that is the frequency of nature, which is really cool. So, that period where when you go into nature and your brain resets and recalibrates, we're kind of tapping into that frequency. And so you're still in control at all times. It's not a hypnosis per se, but a similar kind of vibe, but you can still always make choices and decide what's going on.
Sure.
And so I get to lead you to like your inner sanctuary. And there you might meet with certain guides. You might, be more connected with your body, and you get to take an active role in your own healing of shifting these different blockages or patterns or limitations that are coming up, and, help shift that yourself. Then once that is done, then we come out of the session. We finish with another sage blessing and a prayer to close the circle. And then we'll talk for about 10 to 15 minutes about what happened, what everything looks like, as well as giving you some of those custom energetic tools that I talked about to help regulate your brain and, elevate your physical existence to this new energetic frequency that we've transferred to.
Ooh, oh my gosh, it sounds amazing. How interesting.
It's really cool.
Yeah, this is great. Yeah, wonderful. So, okay. So also, could you share, you have talked about 3 energetic strategies that calm the mind and help accomplish goals. So maybe if people are listening, they can sort of get started, maybe?
Definitely. So 3 strategies, there's 3 simple strategies that are really easy to do. One of them, actually the super simplest, I call it energetic fidgeting. So what happens is when we get stuck in this anxious train of thought, this, tunnel vision of something occurring, we're really focusing on the frontal cortex of your brain is really firing. It's the primal part of your brain related to stress. And so you can't really think logically anymore because that's firing so much. So a great way to get yourself out of that is to grab any item around you, like you can grab a pen, or if you want to be really specific, you can even grab a crystal. And you want to transfer it from the left to the right side of your body. And by doing this, it starts activating the right and left hemisphere of your brain. So you can start bringing that logical thought back into it of being like, wait, no, stop. This is how I was thinking before. This is, I'm okay. I'm safe. It just allows you to start bringing logic and rationalism back into it rather than going on the anxiety train.
Oh, yes. I love that. And is that, I'm not sure about this, but I wonder, is there a piece of that too that's actually starting to activate those alpha brainwaves by moving
definitely.
right to left?
I'm sure it could, because it starts slowing your brainwaves down. And to get into that alpha brainwave, we just simply need to slow our train of thought. So just, slower movements, slowing your breath, calming all that down can really help you with that.
Interesting. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Another one I love is called, energetic CPR. That's what I call it. And so what I like to do here is you either place one hand on your heart or on your mind, depending upon what's going craziest. And I would put the other hand in the air. And I just do some breath work with this. And I focus on channeling energy in from the palm in the air, from, love energy, nature energy, whatever you want to believe in. And as you breathe in, you draw energy through there. And then, it goes to your heart or to your mind to calm your thoughts. And then you exhale any stress or anxiety. And so just doing so, taking a few moments with that breath can, again, just help you calm yourself down, brings in that energy, helps shift your own energy pattern, and can be absolutely amazing for when, again, you're struggling with anxiety or, really nervous about something.
Ooh, I like that. That's so easy too, because it's
so easy. It's just take a moment.
Yeah. Just, putting your hand on your chest, putting one hand up and just receiving through the hand that's up. I love it. That's a
Yeah, so
great,
simple, but so
yeah,
powerful.
yes, this is awesome.
And the third one that I believe in is a little bit more. It takes, it's a little bit more, takes a little bit more work to do.
Yeah.
But just when you are, it's so important to release our emotions. When we are kids, when you're a little kid, you have a temper tantrum, you're experiencing an emotion, you have a temper tantrum, you let this energy out, it's gone, it's done, it's moved out of your body. And then, you go get a hug from your parent, you fill yourself back up, you're great, you move on with life. When we become adults, we learn we can't have these outbursts of emotions anymore. So we end up suppressing everything in our body, in our cells, and then it can manifest as these energetic blocks and limitations, can manifest as illness. So terrible.
Yeah.
So what I love to have my clients do is a mindful way of releasing these emotions. So where you're doing some exercise, this can look like going for a walk, doing yoga, lifting weights, whatever it is, or even if you only have like 30 seconds, just jump up and down, whatever, and just picture mindfully shaking off that energy of that emotion, getting those emotions out, expending that energy. And then once you feel, that it's been released, it's moved out of your body, it's transformed, then just, have a few little positive affirmations or something, give yourself a hug, just fill yourself back up so you can finish that transformation, and just really helps with releasing and transforming whatever that energetic thought pattern was that you were going through.
Ooh, so good. I love this. Okay, that's awesome. Yeah, I've had that. I've definitely had that experience of like just needing to just shake my body to just get the freaking energy out of me.
Exactly.
It's amazing how good just jumping up and down, like you said, can feel. It can make such a huge difference. Oh, that's so great. Oh, wonderful. Well, Ella, this has been brilliant. This is great.
Thank you.
I think people are going to get so much out of this. Yeah, it's been awesome. So if someone's listening right now and they would like to work with you, get in touch with you, what should they do?
Well, if you want to try out working with me, there should be a link in the show notes to actually book one of my signature energy healing methods, Etheric Vitality Enhancement. And I'm offering all the listeners 40% off their initial session. Woo! So right now in 2023, the price would only be $94 for you to try out the signature modality, get some energetic strategies, and see how this can transform your life. It's like less than a cost of a dinner out with your partner, and will make a world of a difference when it comes to how you interact with your partner, how you interact with your life, and just allow so much more ease and wellness into your life. So I highly recommend checking that out. You can also connect with me on my Instagram at opaldawnholistic, or on my website, www.opaldawnholistic.com.
Perfect. And I will have all of that in the show notes, so you can just scroll right down there to get all of those links. That is an amazing offer. Thank you so much. And for everyone listening, take advantage of that. That's a deal. And this sounds incredible. So Ella, thank you so much for coming on the show today. This has been wonderful.
It's my pleasure. I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
And everyone, thank you so much for listening. I will catch you next week.